When art experts test old paintings to see whether they're real or they're forged, they'll sometimes submit flecks of paint for chemical analysis.
That's because in the middle of the last century, America and Russia started blowing up atomic bombs. And now trace levels of radioactive isotopes can be found all over the world. That includes in the materials that artists crush up to make paint. So if the paint is supposed to be from the 1800s, but it has certain isotopes in it, the dealers then know it's a fake.
An art professor at the University of Maine is creating art using a similar principle that the medium a work is painted in can have a powerful message about the world it comes from. News Center Maine's Vivian Lee has more.
Over the past 7 years, artist and University of Maine professor Susan Smith started using soil and plant materials to lessen the impact on the environment.
I'm looking at soils and I'm making pigments and paint by hand.
Smith lives in Piscataquis County. She later discovered the very samples she had gathered near her home could be contaminated with forever chemicals known as PFAS. Nearby farmland was identified as a possible location where industrial sludge laced with the chemicals was spread as fertilizer.
I started to do a huge research project in all my waking hours to find out all of the known documented sites.
This past spring, Smith traveled to 48 different sites of PFAS contamination from Maine all the way to Texas, collecting soil, water, and plant materials.
The former site of the Tozier Dairy, Fairfield, Howe Road, Benton, in that whole area of central Maine.
Utilizing a field kit, Smith took soil samples from former military bases in Limestone and Brunswick and water samples from the Pease Trade Port in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, where PFAS-laden firefighting foam seeped into the city's water supply. Smith created pigments, paints, and dyes and made botanical prints, textile pieces, and paintings.
Everything you're looking at has some degree of contamination to it.
Smith turned her creations into a mobile art lab, Radical Gardening, showcasing art pieces, materials, photos from different sites, and fabric colored with PFAS-contaminated dye. Vials of pulverized soil from those PFAS sites are also on display. Smith also created casts from plant materials from a Superfund site outside of Maine.
Some of the color is just, it's beautiful, natural earth tones, but to some degree, all of those elements are contain forever chemicals.
This week, Radical Gardening will be on display at the annual Urban Soil Symposium in New York City.
I am excited to be able to be the rural component to this.
Smith plans to add more PFAS-tainted art to the display and hopes to continue to take the mobile lab on the road throughout the country, a sobering reminder within the fragile beauty of art and expression of how far-reaching PFAS contamination really is. Vivian Lee, News Center, Maine.
And by the way, in February, Radical Gardening will be on display at the Lord Hall Gallery at UMO.